In the late 90s, there was a phenomenon that took over the world. Pokemania. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing the face of Pikachu somewhere. Whether it be TV, the news, breakfast cereals, waffles, card games, Thanksgiving Day parades, if you could name it, there was probably a Pokemon product out there for it. And all of this mania started with a couple of humble games on the Game Boy that captured the imagination of children everywhere. Pokémon Red and Green, which got ported over to the US of A as Red and Blue, which were technically based on Japan's Blue version, but that doesn't really matter, as we're playing through the remakes, Fire Red and Leaf Green. Westy, why are we playing the remakes and not the original? Oh, you know, no reason in particular. Look, if Game Freak can abuse nostalgia for monetary gain, then so can I. Anyways, before we begin our magical journey through the world of Pokemon, I feel like I have to acknowledge that there is a lot of information when it comes to Pokemon. But what is Pokemon? A question that absolutely none of you are asking, as even uncontacted tribes in the Amazon were spotted asking if we could trade a Budew for a Pupitar. But Pokemon can easily be described as cute little critters that you can capture in devices known as Pokeballs. Your goal in these games is to train Pokemon to be the best at Pokemon. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. This video will primarily focus on the story of the game. At some point in time, I plan on releasing a video going over the mechanics of Pokemon, and a video covering all 151 Pokemon of the original Generation 1 Pokemon on top of my thoughts on them. But for now, let's start a new game. We're greeted by an old man in a lab coat who introduces himself as Professor Oak. He is known as the Pokemon Professor. I guess we'll just ignore Rowan, Elm, Birch, Juniper, and the rest. In case you're wondering, yes, they are all named after trees, and the women are named after bushes. What did Game Freak mean by this? Anyways, Professor Oak decides to show off the entire concept of Pokemon by introducing us to a Nidoran female. Not the Pokemon I'd use to introduce the concept, but to each their own. He then goes on to explain that Pokemon can be found everywhere. Some use them as pets, others use them for battling. As for myself, I eat them. Just kidding, he studies Pokemon. He then asks us if we are a boy or a girl. It's so funny to me that this quote is attributed to Oak, especially considering the fact that he doesn't ask this question in the original games, as they only gave you one option. Because everybody knows that girls don't play video games. Anyways, I decided to be a boy because, well, I am a tree. And then Professor Oak asks us what our name is. I'll just go with Westy for simplicity's sake. Oak then shows us his grandson, who apparently has been a rival since we were babies. Oak's dementia then starts flaring up as he asks us for the name of his own grandson. I can't believe that you forgot Gary Mother Effin' Oak! One of the coolest trainers around in a region that only has 8 badges, he got 10 of them. We'll get into badges later. So after jogging Oak's memory, he tells us that our very own Pokemon legend is about to unfold. Sorry bro, Pokemon Legends doesn't come out for another 18 years. By goodness, I'm old. A world of dreams and adventures with Pokemon awaits. Let's go! He then shrinks us down to fit inside such a small console. We find ourselves in our bedroom playing some NES games, a protagonist after my own heart. Heading downstairs, we talk to our mother who says, right, all boys leave home someday, it said so on TV. That's a weird way to say that you're kicking us out at the age of 11. Oh yes, Prof Oak next door was looking for you. Ah yes, my favorite character, Prof Oak. You absolutely know that's what I'm going to call him now until the end of time. So as we leave our house looking for Prof Oak, we're greeted with everybody's favorite video game hometown, Pallet Town. It's amazing how iconic this place is, given that there's only 3 buildings here. Checking out the signs, we can find that this big building is Prof Oak's lab. It doesn't seem like Prof Oak is here, but Gary Mother Effin' Oak is. What do you gotta say, best buddy rival of mine? Oh, he's just saying that his Gramps isn't in yet. Well, thanks for that insight, Gary. Definitely couldn't have figured that out on my own. Well, I just checked everywhere, and I can't find the professor anywhere. Maybe Prof Oak is somewhere outside of town. So we start to head out and are stopped by Prof Oak. Where in the world did you come from? And why in the world did it look like it was my house? Prof Oak tells us that it's unsafe as wild Pokemon live in tall grass. Well, thanks for saving me from the wrath of Pidgeys and Rattatas. I don't know if I would have been able to survive that. Also, does this subtly imply that we've never left our hometown? Based. You need your own Pokemon for your protection. Well, where am I supposed to get one if I've never left my hometown before? I know, here, come with me. He then drags us to his laboratory. When we arrive, Gary immediately starts complaining about how long he has been waiting, and Prof Oak can't remember why he brought him here. Seriously, dude, look into dementia. I feel like it would help. And God forbid if all the links are already purple. He then ignores his grandson and tells us to pick out our starter Pokemon, or first partner Pokemon if you want to be lame. Gary complains once again, but Prof. Oak says that he should wait his turn. At first I thought this was Prof. Oak trying to dodge claims of nepotism, but due to something that happens when you pick your starter, I'm thinking he was giving Gary a bit of an advantage. But before we point that out, it's time for the most important choice of our young lives. Which one of these three monsters is going to be our friend for life? There's Bulbasaur, the odd plant dinosaur, Charmander, the fire salamander, and Squirtle, the pond turtle. These are quite possibly some of the most iconic Pokemon in existence. I won't go into super depth on this, but they are the quintessential trio of Pokemon types, being grass, fire, and water. A Pokemon's type gives them certain strengths and weaknesses. Don't worry about it, I'll go more into depth in a different video. There is no wrong choice for your starter, regardless of what anyone else says. I myself am going to choose the Pokemon that is arguably my oldest friend, Charmander. Way back in Red and Blue, I chose Red, and in extension chose Charmander, and he has been a part of my life for over 25 years. I look forward to starting this journey with you once again, friend. Anytime you get a new Pokemon, you get the chance to give them a nickname, just to give them that slight bit of personality. I'm going to name my Charmander Buddy. Gary then comes over and chooses his Pokemon, Squirtle, which is strong against my Charmander. What a punk. I wonder if this is the reason why Prof. Oak let him go second. You made it seem like you were neutral, but I'm watching you, old man. We then decide to head on out, but Gary stops us saying, "Wait, Westy, let's check out our Pokemon." He then forces us into our first Pokemon battle. Ah yes, challenging me while I'm inexperienced, while you're also inexperienced. Certainly a strategy. Pokemon at its core is an RPG. If you want more information on what an RPG is, I would recommend checking out my stupidly explained Dragon Quest video. The main thing you need to know for this battle is that you just gotta knock your opponent's Pokemon out by getting their HP to 0. Which shouldn't be too hard, as there is literally zero strategy to this fight. You just sit there and scratch or tackle if you chose a different starter and hope that your opponent doesn't crit you. Eventually either Gary's Squirtle or my Charmander faints and the battle ends, preferably with us taking the victory, but that's not guaranteed and it is okay if you lose. I mean, I would certainly judge you if you lose, but it's okay if you do. And if you do win, your Pokemon will gain enough experience to level up and Gary will give you $80. That may seem like a lot, but the Pokédollar is closer to the yen, so he actually gave you roughly 2 quarters. Back in the lab, Gary proclaims that he's going to battle his Pokemon to toughen it up. He then tells us that he's going to smell us later before leaving with absolute swagger. Yeah, you better smell me later, you jerk. Showed him. So now that we've been given our first Pokemon, we might as well head out on our journey. Which means we'll have to go into the deadly tall grass of Route 1. But I think we'll be fine. As mentioned earlier, only Pidgeys and Rattatas live on this route. And they are... well, we call them Route 1 Mon, but I'll get into that later. Route 1 is the path between Pallet Town and Viridian City. Thank you, Random Sign, for allowing me to flawlessly introduce our first destination, Viridian City. There's a couple of evil ledges that block our progress, but we're easily able to walk around them. We can also find this dude who tells us that he works for the Pokemart and that he'll give us free samples if we promise to visit the main store in Viridian. Oh yeah, dude, I promise to give into your advertising campaign. Anyways, after getting through this very short route, we arrive in Viridian City, the eternally green paradise. Those roofs are pretty green. Now, we can't get much further, as there's an old man passed out drunk on the road, or as they censored it to be in America, he needs his morning coffee. So we might as well give in to the subtle brainwashing of capitalism and go to the Pokemart instead. Upon walking inside, the store owner says, "Hey, you came from Pallet Town? How in the Arceus do you know that? You know Prof. Oak, right?" "Oh yeah, Prof. Oak is the best. His order came in. Can I get you to take it to him?" "What do I look like to you, some type of deli bird?" Apparently the answer is yes, as he hands me Oak's parcel. We head back to Pallet, this time jumping down the evil ledges that used to stand in our way. "Hey, Prof. Oak, I got your Amazon package for you." The professor asks us how his old Pokemon is doing, as it seems to be getting rather attached to us. And this might reflect well as our talent as a Pokemon trainer. Prof. Oak then realizes we have something for him, and we hand him the parcel. Ah, it's the custom Pokeball. Really, we did all this for a lousy Pokeball? At this point in time, Gary shows up, revealing that Prof. Oak called him back for something. The professor then reveals that he has a request for the two of us. "On the desk here is my invention, the Pokédex. It automatically records data on Pokemon you've seen or caught. It's a high-tech encyclopedia. For something that was the cornerstone of my childhood, I never realized how lame they made it sound. Westy and Gary, take these with you. We then receive the Pokédex from Prof. Oak. One of the main goals of Pokemon is to complete the Pokédex by capturing every Pokemon. I really doubt we'll achieve this goal in this video, but we'll see where the road takes us. And in order to help us with this task, Prof. Oak gives us some Pokeballs. Well, now that we have our balls, we can totally get this journey started. To make a complete guide on all the Pokemon in the world. That was my dream. But I'm too old. I can't get the job done. Wait, you became the authority on all Pokemon and you've never completed the Pokédex? That feels like you'd be 70% the authority at best. So I want you two to fulfill my dream for me. Suppose I'll have to put my dreams on hold again then? I'm never gonna be a game designer. Get moving, you two. Okay, geez, we're going. Man, why are you being so pushing today, Prof. Oak? Gary claims that he can get it all done himself. He then turns to us and says, Westy, I hate to say it, but you won't be necessary for this. Oh, is that so? I'll make you eat those words, Gary Mother Effin' Oak. I know, I'll borrow a town map from my sis, and I'll tell her not to lend you one, Westy. Ha ha ha! He then swaggers on out. Well, might as well immediately go to his place and borrow a town map from his sister. Gotta start this journey in style.